I'm James Abdelmalek with Keller Williams Palos Verdes and Keller Williams Luxury International. In today's video and the next video, I will be talking to you about an important topic: investing in real estate. Investing in real estate can be very profitable if you are working with a good real estate agent who knows how to do proper market research, analyze data, and validate disclosed information. There are a number of strategies to invest in real estate. Today, I will be talking to you about the first strategy in investing in real estate, which is buying rental income properties. Many of my clients, whether they were past clients or current clients, are looking for buying rental income property. And as I'm helping them through the process, each one according to his or her specific needs, I thought I'd make this video to help you out if you are considering buying a rental income property. The main objective of owning a rental income property is establishing a steady or fixed cash flow over a long period of time through a profitable rate of return. I gathered 16 points to help you figure out what is the most profitable rental income property to buy. If you follow them, you will be able to get a good cash flow and make a good profit in your purchase. Let's start. Point number one, specify funds. Before you start going and shopping around for income properties, you first have to determine how you will fund your purchase. Are you going to be buying the rental income property all cash, or are you going to be leveraging? If you are leveraging, which means basically getting a loan, do you have enough down payments to cover the requirements of the lender? And if you do, what will be your interest rate? We will need that information to further analyze it will be a good purchase or not, or a good investment or not, further down in the coming points. Whether it's better to purchase the income property all cash or leverage and get a loan, this will be addressed in point number 10. Point number 2, choice of location. When you're shopping for a rental income property, it does not have to by any means be in a city that you would want to live in. This is an investment. It's not a place for you to live. So not necessarily your tenants will be thinking the same way you would be thinking. You're looking for an investment that would bring you cash. So think of a location that just is good or fits for a rental income property that will bring you a good cash flow and profits. This in itself will widen and broaden your selection and options of the rental income properties that are out there. Point number 3, type of area. Make sure the property is in a high demand area, like near a university or a beach. High demand areas depend on area demographics, median income, infrastructure, crime rate, and other amenities like parks, restaurants, gyms, and movie theaters. So all these items affect a high demand area. Point 4, age of the property. Pick a property that is not of very old age, unless of course it's at a super bargain price. Renting older property means you will likely incur higher maintenance costs. So avoid that. Point number 5, avoid fixer properties. Remember the investment strategy you are in right now and focus on it. You are investing in buying rental income properties, which is a steady cash flow for a long period of time. You are not investing in flipping a house for a quick capital gain. This will be the topic of the next video. But you are investing to buy rental income properties for cash flow and long-term profit. So avoid any fixers because the capital expenditures and the cost of repairs are far too high for you to make a profit on a rental income property. However, when you buy a rental income property, it is necessary that you make cosmetic renovations like painting, probably making nice countertops. They don't have to be the expensive kind in the kitchen. Items like this that are not expensive, but they are cosmetics that such that when the tenant comes and sees it, he will feel comfortable in wanting to lease this unit. Point number 6, know the tenants and vacancy rate. You have to know your inherited tenants to avoid future problems. Do they pay in a timely manner? Are there any issues between the prior landlord and the tenants? You have to know these things. Know the number of vacant units. Why is that important? We need to know that so that your realtor will be able to calculate the vacancy rate. The vacancy rate is simply the number of vacant units divided by the total number of units. We need the vacancy rate because that will fit as part of the line cost items in the operating costs, which we will discuss in point number 9. Point number 7, compare gross rental income to average rents in the area. After knowing how much rent you will be collecting, I always research the average rents in that area and compare it to the rents my clients will be collecting. I have to know if the current rents that are coming with the house are over or under priced. Point number 8, obtain and recalculate the net operating income. Most of the rental income properties on the MLS, they disclose the net operating income and some don't. Whether they disclose it or they don't, you should be able to know how to calculate it for your own good. You have to see how profitable it is. The formula for calculating net operating income is very simple. It's the gross rental income minus the operating expenses. This will give us the NOI, or the net operating income. Point number 9, analyze operating expenses. I always advise my clients that we have to examine the records of the operating expenses and validate if they are true or not, because this is a big investment decision. Operating expenses or operating costs consist of many line items. The major ones to look for are maintenance and repairs, property taxes, property insurance, property management if they are using a property manager, landscaping, utilities, and vacancy reserve. Vacancy reserve is simply a formula calculating the cost associated with not renting out a unit. It's simply vacancy rate multiplied by gross rental income. We already calculated the vacancy rate and understood it from point number 6. Now, after seeing all these items in the operating expenses, how would you know that these expenses are valid? If, for example, the owner is selling the house, he would like to show as much low expenses as possible to show you that it's a profitable investment for you so that you would buy it. But how would you validate? From my experience in going through many numbers, operating expenses should be anywhere between or above 30 and 35% of the gross rental income. If it's anywhere below 30%, then that's a red flag. You would need to investigate more to make sure that this operating expense is accurate. Point number 10, determine value and profitability of the property. When buying an income property, we have to make sure we are not overpaying. The way to do that is to value the property. One of the main approaches to value income properties is the CAP rate, also known as the income approach. CAP rate assesses profitability, return on investment, rate of return, and return potential. Make sure the property has a good CAP rate. The higher the CAP rates, the higher the return. If you are buying all cash, ensure that the CAP rate is significantly higher than the interest rate or the risk-free interest rate in the bank. If you are leveraging or financing the purchase, ensure the CAP rate is greater than the interest rate you're paying on your loan plus the interest rates offered by the bank. Point number 11, recalculate the property's CAP rates. In most cases, the CAP rate is disclosed on the properties or the rental income properties for sale. But I personally like to recalculate the CAP rate myself to ensure its validity. To calculate the CAP rates, it's a very simple formula. It is basically net operating income or NOI divided by the purchase price. Point number 12, compute cash flow of property. You need to know what is the net cash flow you will receive every month. You need to estimate what cash liquidity you will have remaining for you on a monthly basis. There are two levels of cash flow that you should know. The first level is cash flow from operations. This cash flow is basically the cash flow of just running the business without the effect of any leverage or loan or finance costs. It's simply net operating income or NOI, which we discussed in point number 8, minus capital expenditures. Capital expenditures are basically large expenses like, for example, repairing of roof, if you're putting in a new AC or heating system, driveway, or any other major structural items. These are not part of the operating expenses, but they should be reducing the net operating income in order to get cash flow from operations. The second level of cash flow is cash flow after financing. So this simply is cash flow from operations, which we just mentioned, minus the finance costs. The finance costs are simply the mortgage and the interest on the mortgage. So basically, if you are getting a positive cash flow because you're leveraging the house and getting a loan from operations and after financing, then most likely it looks like it's a good deal. It's not the only indicator, but that's a good indicator. Point number 13, measure a number of years for property to pay for itself. To know if you made a good investment, you need to figure out how long it will take for the rent you are collecting to pay off for the purchase price that you paid. There is an indicator for that. It's called gross rent multiplier. Gross rent multiplier calculates how many years it will take for the property to pay for itself from just the gross rent. And by the way, this is the second approach to value an income property. This will determine if the asking price of the property is a good deal or not. The lower the number of years, the better the deal you are getting. The formula for that is you just divide the property asking price by the annual gross rental income. This will give you the number of years it will take for the property to pay for itself from the gross rent you're collecting. Point number 14, learn the governing state and city laws. Know the laws governing landlords and tenants, because you are going into lease agreements with your tenants. You have to know the laws that govern you. What protects you and what protects the tenants. You have to understand all that stuff. The other thing is ensure the property is in compliance according to the city. Like if they have, for example, 4 units, make sure that all 4 units are permitted for with the city, because if they're not, you could be paying a fine, or they could probably ask you to remove the 4th unit. Make sure the property has no rent control, for example. This gives you flexibility to raise rents or evict bad tenants. California, earlier this year, now established rent control statewide. But I'm talking about if there is other states that haven't established that, check in the city that you're purchasing the income property in and make sure if it's rent control or not. Rent control simply means you cannot evict a tenant easily. Number 2, you cannot simply raise the rent on your tenant significantly. It has to be based on consumer price index or whatever the city requires, which would be not more than 3 or 5% per year. Point number 15, select area with appreciating values. Pick a property that is in an area that is expected to appreciate in market value in the future. These are all based on current real estate statistics, historical trends, and market patterns. Also, if there is any upcoming developments that's going to happen in a certain area. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube to learn about market trends of different cities and any upcoming developments in certain cities. Point number 16 and final point, utilize tax benefits. Most residential rental income properties are depreciated over a lifetime of 27.5 years. The good thing about depreciation is it is a non-cash expense that reduces the amount of tax you would owe to the IRS. That means extra cash for you in your pocket. Let me give you a quick example. If you bought a rental income property for $1 million, and that rental income property brings you net income of $100,000. Before the IRS can tax you on the $100,000, you are allowed to reduce $36,300 from the $100,000, and then the IRS would tax you on only $63,700. Very simple. You would just save money through a non-cash expense. Now that I taught you all the points you need to know to purchase an income property, be sure to apply them in your next investment decision. If you ever need my help in your next purchase, call me or text me on the number shown on screen. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube to learn about different real estate topics. In my next video, I will talk to you about flipping homes for profit or capital gain. If you ever want to buy a house or sell a house or invest in real estate, call me or text me anytime on the number shown on screen, and it'll be my pleasure to help you out. James Abdelmalek signing out. God bless.